Hi there, my name is Cora Lee. I'm an arts program coordinator here at FPCC. I oversee the music program and I appreciate you taking the time to watch this info session. First Peoples Cultural Council is grateful to have our offices located in the beautiful traditional unceded territory of the Wasanich Nation people in the village of Sartlip. We are grateful for speakers, artists, and knowledge keepers who hold on to their languages, arts, and heritage. We celebrate you. I am recording this presentation from Snuneymuxw ancestral lands, also known as Nanaimo, where I'm thankful to live and work. I've been with the arts team since 2022. I'm non-Indigenous from a settler family of German ancestry on my mom's side. I've played music most of my life, and I'm so thankful that my life's experience with music has led me here to the FPCC arts team. Again, thanks for taking the time to be here. I hope this video provides valuable information to support you through the application process. These are the members of our arts team. In addition to myself, you may come into contact with the other team members when you reach out to us. I also want to acknowledge the FPCC Community Revitalization Planning Coaches, as they also support our arts program. The mandate of the First Peoples Cultural Council is to assist BC First Nations in their efforts to revitalize languages, arts, cultures, and heritage. There are 3 program areas within FPCC: language, arts, and heritage. The arts program provides financial support to BC First Nations creatives with priority given to projects intended for revitalization of the arts, languages, cultures, and heritage of BC First Nations. The FPCC Arts Program contains 4 program areas. The Individual Artist Program, which focuses on projects and creative development, and scholarships for arts education are also available under this program. The Arts Strengthening Program, which includes one-on-one arts mentorships and group workshops to support the continuation of BC First Nations cultural arts practices. The Arts Infrastructure Program, which involves art space construction or renovations and capacity building for BC First Nations arts and culture organizations and communities. And the music program, the one we're discussing today, which is focused on music creation and music industry professional internships, mentorships, training, and project support. FPCC has general funding guidelines that apply to all programs. They are available on the music program page of our website. It's important that for anyone applying to first read these guidelines. They cover topics such as funding criteria, including eligibility, misrepresentation, ineligible expenses, grant liability insurance and certification, and criminal record checks. You will also find information about FPCC grant applications, including grant portal information, general application guidelines, and reporting requirements, as well as the proposal review process, notification of awards, and payment of awards. Our music program guidelines, where you'll find program-specific details, are also available on the music program page of our website. It's important to read these too. These are some key dates and details for our 2025-26 arts funding intake. Individuals applying must be BC First Nations, over 19 years of age, and have lived in BC at least 1 year. Applications are submitted through the FPCC grant portal. You'll need an account to apply. The address is shared on this slide, fpcc.ca/login. You can also find the portal by going to our website, fpcc.ca, and clicking on Programs, then Music Program, and a link to the portal lives on that page too, as well as most of the other information found in this presentation. It's a good page to visit. The deadline for applications is Wednesday, March 19th at 4:30 p.m. We strongly recommend that you submit your application before the deadline date, as early as you're able, to avoid heavy congestion on the portal, which can interrupt portal functions. The project you're applying for can happen between March 19th, 2025 and March 19th, 2026. FPCC tries to ensure grants are widely accessible. However, due to lack of long-term funding, there's no guaranteed funding for our programs. Here's what to expect after you apply. A notification of receipt will be sent by email to the primary contact provided in the application. If you don't receive this, have a look in your junk mailbox, as they sometimes end up in the spam folder. Applications are first reviewed for eligibility, completeness, and clarity of purpose. Then, an impartial adjudication committee of experts, our peer review committee, or PRC, will meet to review all proposals and, based on program criteria, will make funding recommendations. And these recommendations will inform the funding decisions by FPCC. If approved, payments will be made in 2 installments, 80% of the funding upon approval and receipt of a signed funding agreement, and 20% of funding upon approval of a final report. As I just mentioned, if you receive funding for your project, you will be required to complete a final report 1 month after the project end date and not later than April 19th, 2026. You're welcome to complete the final report earlier than that deadline. The final installment will be released upon approval of that report. It's important to note that you can't submit an application if you have an active grant within the arts program. So if you have an active file and want to apply, you need to fill out your final report. Often we can help you do this even if your project is not fully complete. Feel welcome to reach out if you'd like some coaching around wrapping up your current project. All right, I've described the FPCC, our arts program, and next in this info session, I'm going to describe the music program and the 3 grant streams available. I'll share information about the kinds of music activities each grant stream supports and the grant amounts for each. We'll look at eligible and ineligible expenses, what you'll need to complete an application, and then we'll look at the funding timeline and how to apply for FPCC grants. The music program supports the development of music creatives and professionals residing in BC through grants and training programs with priority given to projects intended for the revitalization of the arts, languages, cultures, and heritage of BC First Nations. The music program branches into 3 funding streams: creation and sharing, industry professionals, internships, mentorships, and training, and recording engineer mentorships. For all 3 grant streams within the music program, you'll need these things to complete your application: a resume or bio, a description of your professional experience, a description of who you are and what music is to you, a project description that goes into detail about your plan, why it's important, how it will support your journey as a creative or a music industry professional, and who else will be involved. A work plan worksheet. You'll create a work plan by filling in the worksheet built into the application, including the key activities of your project, what the outcomes will be, when they will happen, and who will lead them. Ensure that the people and activities listed here are included in the other worksheets and sections of the application. And know that the PRC really appreciates a detailed work plan. A project team worksheet. We'll need a list of the main collaborators and key contributors. For example, a producer for a recording, a marketing professional if you're hiring someone to help with that, a recording engineer. This information will be added to the project team worksheet built into the application. And for the key contributors, the main people on your project team, there's a place to add their resume or bio. And this is so the PRC knows who you're working with. If your project involves a mentor, they will be listed here as well. For key participants, such as a producer or a mentor, there is a spot to share previous sound recording projects too. You'll need a balanced budget. There's a budget worksheet built into the application where you'll list all your expenses. The arts program coordinator, that's me for the music grants, is available to provide coaching and support if you need it. In the budget description boxes, list the items and amounts that make up the large sums. Demonstrate how you arrived at the number you're entering. Include these details in the budget description boxes. This will help the peer review committee understand how you arrived at the amount you're requesting. A balanced project budget is one where your expenses and the amount of money you're requesting are the same. The PRC will look to see that all the worksheets and project descriptions work together to create a clear picture of your project. For creation projects, we'll also need samples of music, either previously recorded or to be recorded. You can upload or link to sound or video recordings and fill in the text box with a list that identifies and describes the support material. Remember, the PRC will be able to listen to about 5 minutes, so the clearer you can be about what section of the sample you want them to hear, the better. We also ask for 2 current letters of support, and all letters of support should be signed and have a current date, so it's clear they're for this application. Letters of support can be from a collaborator, a peer, a community member, a knowledge holder, anyone else you feel can speak to your creative goals. Signatures can be typed, handwritten, or scanned. Here's a hot tip. A simple, achievable plan makes for a strong application. Aim to create an application where all of the sections weave together to create a clear picture of your proposal and who you are. The project description, work plan worksheet, project team worksheet, budget worksheet, and letters of support should share the same details, focusing on different aspects of this clear plan. Here's another hot tip. Provide as much detail as you can in your application. This doesn't mean you need to have many paragraphs of writing. It means a brief but thorough description of your idea. For example, where possible, name the people you'll be collaborating with or paying to be part of your team, even if it's noted that this is to be confirmed or pending funding. The PRC knows that it's not always possible to confirm participation until you have funding in place, but let us know who you've talked with about the project. This demonstrates you've thought through the plan, are prepared, and have an idea of who you will be working with. The budget worksheet contains description boxes. Use these to list the items and amounts that make up the large sums. Demonstrate how you arrived at the number you're entering. For example, if this is a fee you're paying a mentor or a videographer, list how much per hour for how many hours the fee is for. And for you too, remember to pay yourself and demonstrate the rate of pay and how much time you'll be spending. The peer review committee really appreciates this kind of detail. Let's look at the Creation and Sharing grant stream. This grant stream funds creation of new music, for example, exploring a new opportunity or idea, for mentorship, for study. Recording your music, for musicians who have a plan or wish to develop a plan for recording and sharing their work. This can include post-production like mixing, editing, and mastering. For performances, for tours you have to have a minimum of 3 paid performances within Canada that take place at 3 different venues in 3 different communities or cities with minimal time between the dates. This funding can also be used for a showcase performance within Canada if you are invited to participate at an official showcase, national event, or festival. And promotion and marketing, funding to promote your music, your tour, your new recording. You can apply for these activities on their own or in combination. These activities can lead to professional development opportunities, knowledge transfer, and community well-being. How much funding does your project need to happen? You can apply for up to $20,000 in funding. If you don't need the full $20,000, you can apply for less. Who can apply for Creation and Sharing? BC First Nations individuals currently living in BC can apply for funding. This program supports artists at all stages of their journey. These are some examples of eligible expenses, and there is some flexibility here. Have a look at the funding guidelines for more detail. It's always a good idea to email music@fpcc.ca with any questions you have. We can email you back with the answer or set up a time to talk on the phone. Some examples of eligible expenses are salaries and wages for all project participants, including the applicant. Remember to pay yourself. Within the budget worksheets, there are description boxes. Use these to make it clear what the amount you've entered is for. For example, what is the hourly wage? For how many hours? For how many days? We support elder and/or knowledge holder consultation fees. Where possible, please include names and explain the fees in the budget description. Honoraria for collaboration with other artists, mentors, and elders. Travel, transportation, and accommodation expenses. Administrative expenses, up to 10% of the funded project. Equipment required for the project, up to 20% of the funded project. Make sure to explain why you need the equipment in the project description. Childcare expenses for studio days or other activities directly related to the project. Rental of space and equipment needed for the project. Will you be working with a mentor? If so, then your mentor program costs. Remember to avoid entering a large amount with no explanation of how you decided you'll need this amount. The PRC will find this confusing. For creation and sharing, we ask for samples of music, either previously recorded or to be recorded. Upload or link to a maximum of 5 minutes of sound or video recordings and fill in the text box with a list that identifies and describes the support material. Remember, the PRC will be able to listen to about 5 minutes. And what section of the song do you want them to listen to? The clearer you can be about exactly what you want them to hear, the better. If applying for funds to support a tour or a showcase, you'll need written confirmations of your bookings, at least 3 for a tour, and a marketing plan explaining how you'll make sure people know it's happening. The next grant stream we'll talk about is industry professionals, supporting emerging music industry professionals in the roles of administrator, agent, promoter, manager, event organizer, or presenter. This priority area includes short-term mentorship, internship, training, and project support that will position applicants to gain experience, skills, and knowledge. Who can apply? BC First Nations individuals residing in BC who are 19 years of age and older. You can apply for up to $20,000 in funding. If you don't need the full $20,000, you can apply for less. You can either arrange a mentorship or internship with a qualified music industry professional, organization, or event, or describe the training or support you need for your existing professional arts industry practice. The goal is that these mentorships, internships, training, and support will offer an opportunity to gain experience, knowledge, and build relationships in the community. These are some examples of eligible expenses, and there is some flexibility here. Have a look at the funding guidelines for more detail. It's always a good idea to email music@fpcc.ca with any questions you have, and we can either email you back with the answer or set up a time to talk on the phone. Eligible expenses include applicant salaries or wages, travel and accommodation expenses, equipment purchases such as a camera, video camera, or a laptop, to a maximum of 25% of the total funded project. Make sure you explain why you need to make this equipment purchase. And other expenses that are directly related to project activities. If this is a mentorship or an internship, we'll ask for background information about your mentor or the organization you'll be working with, and their commitment to career development and professional training for music industry professionals. If this is a mentorship or internship, it's a good idea to ask them to help you answer this section. Also, we'll need 2 current letters of support. If there's a mentor or organization you're working with, one of the letters must be from the mentor or the organization, confirming participation and speaking about why they've agreed to work with the applicant, and a current letter of support for the applicant and proposed project. All letters of support must be signed and have the current date so it's clear that they are for this application. Letters of support can be from a collaborator, a peer, a community member, a knowledge holder, or anyone else you feel can speak to your creative goals. Signatures may be typed, handwritten, or scanned. Have a look at the funding guidelines for a full list of what you'll need when replying. The next grant stream we'll talk about is recording engineer mentorships. This priority area is meant to broaden knowledge, skills, networking, and business opportunities within the BC music industry through mentorships based on direct participation in recording projects. Who can apply? BC First Nations individuals who currently live in BC and who are 19 years of age or older. You can apply for up to $30,000 in funding. If you don't need the full $30,000, you can apply for less. 50% of the grant total request to a maximum of $15,000 can be used for recording equipment and software enhancements. This funding is for recording engineers operating an independent recording studio, or recording engineers who graduated from a professional recording school and want to start an independent recording studio, or recording engineers who have a minimum of 1 year experience in a recording studio. These are some examples of eligible expenses. There's some flexibility here. Have a look at the funding guidelines for more detail. It's always a good idea to email music@fpcc.ca with any questions you have, and we can email you back with the answer or set up a time to talk on the phone. Eligible expenses can include applicant salaries or wages, travel and accommodation expenses, for example, travel to and from your mentoring studio. Up to 50% of the requested grant amount can be used to enhance or upgrade studio equipment. Be sure to describe the need for these enhancements or upgrades in the project description, and see the music program guidelines for more details. Your proposal should describe your history and commitment to the recording arts and answer the question, why is this mentorship important for you right now? Plans should describe the lasting benefits, how this mentorship will help you grow within your profession. Also, please provide details about the mentor's recording studio and its equipment, background information about your mentor, their experience, their commitment to professional development, and why they are a good fit for you. It's a good idea to ask the mentor to help you with this section. A balanced budget. There is a budget worksheet built into the application where you'll list your expenses. The Arts Program Coordinator, that's me for the music grants, is available to provide coaching and support if you need it. In the budget description boxes, list the items and amounts that make up the large sums. Demonstrate how you arrived at the number you're entering. A balanced project budget is one where your expenses and the amount of money you are requesting are the same. If you're applying for equipment purchases or software updates, we need a detailed list and the cost for each item on the list. Also, 2 current letters of support. One of the letters must be from your mentor, confirming participation and speaking about why they've agreed to work with you. The second letter is a current letter of support for the applicant and the proposed project. All letters of support must be signed and have a current date so it's clear they're for this application. Letters of support can be from a collaborator, a peer, a community member, a knowledge holder, or anyone else you feel can speak to your creative goals. Signatures can be typed, handwritten, or scanned. We'll also ask for support material, previous related work from both the applicant and the mentor studio. Submit up to 5 minutes in total of select audio recordings. And with that, a numbered list that provides all the details of the support material. Remember, this is an overview, and the place to find the full list of what you'll need is in the program guidelines. Now, for a full list of ineligible expenses, the FPCC general guidelines are available from our music program page on the website. Also, the music program guidelines, where you'll find program-specific details, are available on the music program page of fpcc.ca. I'll go over some examples of ineligible expenses here. Those would be expenses not directly related to the project, expenses that take place before the music program application deadline, so before March 19th, 2025, business development costs, for example, business startup costs, point of sale systems, websites, building a brand, business logo design, production of items intended to sell like merch, t-shirts, records, CDs. It's okay to include these things if you intend to give them away for promotion, but if you're going to sell them, they're not eligible expenses. If you're not sure if an expense is eligible, feel welcome to contact the arts program staff at music@fpcc.ca. Note that the arts program is run by a team, and this email address is monitored by multiple team members. The arts program has a few resources available on our website. Our grant writing handbook and arts portfolio handbook are available to assist you in project planning, writing your grant and sharing your art. You will find these handbooks on our website, program page under Tools and Resources. We're in the process of updating these handbooks, so they're a little dated, but they still contain helpful information. FPCC arts applications take time to complete, and we recommend starting as early as possible. Significant reading and writing are required throughout the application process, along with seeking support letters. It's recommended to allow yourself up to a month to work through all the portions of the application. In addition, applications are completed on FPCC's grant portal, which is technology-based and functions best when used on a laptop or desktop computer. For applicants that require assistance with technology, we recommend having a friend, family member, or someone they trust to assist them with completing and submitting the application. Please reach out to Arts Program staff if you have any questions about the application process, would like to discuss project planning, and/or if you need support in completing your application. The deadline for one-on-one support is March 5th, 2025. If your application is successful, a final report will be due 1 month following the project end date and no later than April 19th, 2026. We recommend you start early. No need to wait for the deadline. You're welcome to complete the final report when the first installment has been spent. Your project doesn't have to be fully complete. We encourage you to review the final report in the grant portal at the start of your project. It's available on the portal dashboard as soon as your grant is active. This is a great way to be prepared at the beginning of the arts project, knowing what you'll be reporting on. The final payment installment will be released upon approval of the final report. As the funding agreement explains, payments are made in 2 installments, 80% of the funding upon approval and receipt of a signed funding agreement, and 20% of funding upon the approval of the final report. Please report on the full amount of the grant in your final report, which includes the final installment. Make note what the final installment will go toward. Funding recipients with active grants or outstanding final reports are not eligible to apply for other FPCC programs until their final report has been submitted. Final reports include description of project activities and outcomes, a financial summary of the full project budget, including an updated budget worksheet, support documentation including photos, videos, audio, and other attachments related to the project, and any relevant feedback. If you have any questions about completing your final report, we're here to help. Email us at music@fpcc.ca. All right, to recap, here is the timeline we're looking at for the funding call and for your project. Applications are due March 19th, 2025 at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. We recommend you submit before the big rush on deadline day. This can really help you avoid the technical issues that may arise when our website is loaded with heavy traffic. The funding term is anytime between March 19th, 2025 and March 19th, 2026. A final report is due 1 month after the project end date and no later than April 19th, 2026. Applicants will be notified by email of the funding decision about 12 weeks after the application deadline. Staff capacity is very limited during the grant intake, so email response times can be delayed. If application is successful, a funding agreement will be sent by email. Once this is signed, we can prepare the payment in 2 installments, 80% after the signed funding agreement is received and 20% after the final report is submitted and approved. You're welcome to complete the final report earlier than the April 19th, 2026 deadline. You can submit your final report when you're ready for the final installment. The final installment will be released upon the approval of the final report. And remember to report on the full amount of the grant in your final report. And of course, it's important to note again that you cannot submit an application if you have an active grant within the arts program. So if you have an active file and you want to apply, you need to fill out your final report. Feel welcome to reach out if you'd like to do this and want some coaching around wrapping up your current project. Thank you all for watching this music program webinar. It's recommended that you read through the general funding guidelines, the music program guidelines, and start a draft application so you can read it over. After that, please feel welcome to send us an email with any questions or to arrange a time to discuss your project. As you see on this screen, music@fpcc.ca is our email address. We're here to help. Send an email and set up a phone call to discuss your ideas or your questions. Of course, it's best to discuss your plans well before the deadline and submitting the proposal. We will be making appointments for one-on-one coaching up until March 5th, 2025. Remember, the deadline is March 19th, 2025, and it's best to submit before the big rush on deadline day. Applications are submitted using the grant portal. You'll need an account on the portal. If you don't have one already, please go to fpcc.ca/login to create an account. The portal link is here on this image, and an example of the login page is on the right side of the screen here. The FPCC grant portal allows you to work on and save your draft application. Give yourself plenty of time to write your application prior to the deadline. If you don't have access to the internet or where accessibility is a concern, please contact us and we'll create a plan to help with your application. I hope this gives you an idea of what the music program supports, and we really hope you apply. Thank you, and I wish you well.